Okay, so this is not a yo-yo video, nor is it a video that I intended to make, but I decided to do a little project that I figured I would document just in case it went well and it was of assistance to anybody in their endeavors. But I decided to make a mala bracelet, which is a bracelet or necklace of beads. They can be made from any number of different things: wood, stone, precious gems. But basically they're used, in meditation, prayer, things like that. Bead counting, certain meditative practices like that. So at any rate, I got these raw beads from Michael's, but you can get them from any craft store. They are 15mm wooden beads. I'm not even sure what kind of wood they are. I have actually already applied one coat of finish to it. This is a Minwax, just wood finish that stains and seals. But I'm going to apply another coat because I want to darken them up a little bit. And that's when I decided to start documenting it, because I started liking the way they looked. So this is the way they look so far. And that is, again, that's with one coat of the finish on. Now, what I did first, the first time, I actually made this little rig. I took the shaft of a 632 screw, and I ran a nut, a corresponding nut, down right up to the chuck on this drill that I set it in. And basically I have this other nut, and I would take one of the beads, take this nut off, put the bead on, run this other nut down to the bead to kind of lock it in place. Then I had a rag or paper towel, whatever, that I dip in the finish, and I would spin the drill and apply it that way. That was working. I mean, it worked very well. It was also very time consuming. So I ended up having this idea that I'm going to give it a try, and hopefully it works. But I've strung the beads onto an old yo-yo string, and the instructions on the finish say to apply it, and then the longer you wait and leave it on there before wiping it, the deeper and more rich the staining will be. So I'm going to give that a try. I'd like to darken them up just a little bit more than what they are. So my thought was to string them on this yo-yo string. I'm going to dip them in the wax. Then I'm going to pull them out. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes as is, and then I'm going to wipe them off, let them dry, and see how that turned out. So let's give it a shot. If it does work, I do have, I mean, if it doesn't work, I do have another set of beads that I will be trying again with, but hopefully this process turns out to be the ticket. All right, let's see how this goes. Nice and coated. I should also finish the insides of them and just make sure that that raw wood is sealed. Alright, I'm gonna let that sit for a few seconds. I also need it to kind of make sure it gets in between the beads, since they are touching each other as I dip. Swish them around a little bit. Alright, let that drip dry, and then I'm gonna let this, when I hang it up, let it dry for, not dry, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The instructions specifically say do not let it dry without wiping the excess. So I'm gonna just kind of let it drip dry here for a second. Then I'm going to wipe off the excess with some paper towels, and we'll see how that staining looks. But if it looks anything like it does already, hopefully it's picking up well on camera, but color looks really good and rich right now. I think I may like that the way it is. I do also intend to, once I finish the staining the way I want it, I do have another Minwax can of polyurethane, I believe it is, clear coat. So I will be applying that as well, just to protect and seal it. And I think I'm going to give it one more dip here, see what happens. Just get real experimental with this. Sorry if that's picking up, the air conditioner just came on and there's a vent right behind me. Alright. I'm going to let that sit for just a second, and then I'm going to wipe off the excess and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I got them all unstrung and blotted. I took them off the string because they were easier to blot that way. I just kind of rolled them around gently on the paper towel, as well as I didn't want them touching while they dried so they don't stick together. I did grab the remaining raw beads, so you can see they were pretty light to start with. They are bead landing beads, 15 millimeter, in case anybody needs to source them outside of the local craft store or what have you if you can't find them. But I think the color's turning out pretty well with them so far, and so as long as they remain that shade and it doesn't lighten up as it dries or anything like that, which I don't anticipate it will, we'll run with that color and we'll get the polyurethane glossy clear coat on to kind of shine them up and protect them a bit. And yeah, so got a 8-hour cure process, so I will check back in again in 8 hours, see how we're looking. Alright, so I finished working on the beads. I did the polyurethane off camera, but I think it turned out really well. This is one of them. And here's one of the original raw beads, just for a final comparison. So I just followed the can's instructions. I put gloves on and I just used a rag, dipped it in the can, spread it on it, and let it dry for 8 hours, and then did that a second time and let it cure for another 8 hours. And so got a nice shine to it. So now I'm ready for the paracord threading part. I wanted to put a couple of extra beads on it. One center capture bead as the 2 pieces of cord meet at the knot. I'm going to tie an adjustable knot on it, and I'm going to use these beads that I don't know how to describe them other than they look kind of like maybe patinaed bronze or something of that nature, but I'm going to add them as just kind of a little bit of flair on there. So we'll see how all of this goes. I have a length of forget what size paracord it is. It's the 90 whatever it is, but it's a thinner cord. I wanted the beads to be able to slide on the cord, and the only thing other than cut it that I've done is I used a butane torch to just heat the ends to make it easier to thread the beads on. So I guess first step is I'll get all of the wooden beads threaded, and I did choose 13 beads. That was just the number of 15 millimeter beads that happened to fit comfortably around my wrist. I did kind of size them before, so I knew how many beads to use in the entire process. Last one. Okay, there we go. All right, all threaded now. So that is what the final strand looks like before knotting. So now I did find a tutorial on on the sliding knot itself on the YouTube channel Bracelet Addiction. So shout out to Bracelet Addiction for the good tutorial on that knot. I'll have a link to that in the description. I will also attempt to at least demonstrate it where it can be seen. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to lay your finger against the cord that is behind it, behind this string from your perspective as you're tying the knot. And you're going to take this and you're going to wrap it around your finger 2 times, going to your left. And I'm obviously wrapping around my left hand. And once you come up on that second wrap, you're going to slide your finger out of those coils. And then you're going to take the part that you were wrapping and slide it through the coils and then pull tight. And you should end up with a knot in one cord that will slide on the other cord. Like so. So now I've left enough here for what I wanted to do with the extra couple of beads. So I'll string those on here, and I'm just going to use a double overhand knot, which is basically just a regular knot as you would like the first knot to tying your shoes, except you wrap it twice. So I'm going to do that with maybe, I don't know, an inch or so of cord for them to kind of slide around just a little bit. Okay, and cut that off. And I'm actually going to cut this maybe slightly longer than the knot because I haven't quite decided, but I may end up letting that fray and kind of tassel a little bit, but I haven't decided. If I don't end up liking it, I will cut it off and just use the torch to melt the end there. Alright, so that's one of the tassels. And I'm going to do my best to get it obviously the same length as the other one. Slide that up just a little bit. Okay, I got that in a good spot. Hold it nice and tight. Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, snip that excess the same. Okay. So again, I'll let that fray out and see if I like it like that. But yeah, there we go. Now, let's see if it'll actually go on the wrist. All right. Looks pretty good, I think. Pretty happy with that result. So there's space for me to move them around on there, and I think the extra beads turned out pretty well. Not too long, but you know, something to also roll around and play with to the Mala bracelet's intended purpose. So anyway, hope that helps someone in their own pursuits. And yeah, if there are any questions, I guess hit me up in the comments and I'll do my best to help as well as I can. All right,